on that to-do list, but that home improvement project doesn't have to be a chore. Before you jump in, tune in here to About Your House to listen and learn from the most experienced and reputable contractors and service providers in the industry. On today's show, we have Andrew Cole of Song Dog Wildlife Management. He'll be talking about his story and the various wildlife he's encountered on the job. How many bears you wrestled, Andrew?
Not on the job with this job, but I've dealt with quite a few bear when I worked for the Wildlife Commission, when I worked for the state.
There you go. How many bears you
He'll
wrestled?
talk animal, too. Tune in. It's going to be a good show.
How many animal noises can you make?
A variety.
And more to come.
About Your House is brought to you in part by Queen City Home Store. Queen City Home Store is a family-owned store that's been serving the Carolinas for over 70 years. They're the largest independent appliance retailer in the Carolinas, constantly growing and taking pride in the experience. They offer customers with a knowledgeable sales staff, product selection, and lowest price guarantee. About Your House is also brought to you in part by PutToolsInSchools.org, connecting students to tools of the trades and raising awareness of the many career pathways. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some time with us as we spread a little love. And now, here's your host, Ray Terry.
Good morning. Welcome to another issue, another segment, another broadcast, another show. You get the idea. Right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, every Tuesday from 10 to noon. Downloaded and then rebroadcast audio every Saturday morning on Fox Sports Charlotte. Download the free app, stream it live. I got Andrew Cole in studio today, Song Dog Wildlife Management. Good morning, Mr. Cole.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Been a while.
It has been.
How long has it been?
Maybe a year and a half.
About a year and a half. Gotcha. I want to ask one question going in there. How old are your kids now?
13 and 7. I have a teenager now.
I want to catch up because I had Preston Sandlin in here last week.
My son River will be 14 in November, and my daughter Josie will be 8 in September.
Right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, River and Josie. Mm-hmm.
And they're growing up like weeds.
Goes by fast.
I said Preston Sandlin was in here last week, and I've known Preston for many, many, many years. Large President, call him Mr. Fancy Pants. You know, Mr. Pants, but he's got a collection he wears. He's a home inspector, obviously, home inspector Carolina, great guy. I've watched his kids grow up, his two daughters. Mm-hmm. I remember when they were just young kids, like 2, 3, 4, and I watched him make pancakes and do all this creative artwork and all with his kids all these years. Mm-hmm. You know, they're 23 and 27, I think, something like that. I'm thinking, wow, now yours. I can remember when you had River. Mm-hmm. You know, and we've talked about these things, and then Josie came along, and here we are, 7 and 13.
Yep, it's cliche to say, but it does go by fast.
God, yes, it does.
You fill up a calendar, the weeks go by fast, the months go by fast, and it's like, dang, there goes another year.
Yep, and life at home's great.
It's good, very good.
Good.
Nothing to complain about at all.
And you're still very active in wildlife, obviously.
Oh, yeah, I mean... I'm an outdoorsman, and also what I do with work, you know, is associated with that.
Andrew's one of the few that went to college for his passion, right?
That's true. Yeah.
You went to college. Now he is a rare breed because he's a real. One thing here, this is a real man. We got a man problem, not here, not in this. Well, maybe Richton's a little bit needed there. We'll give him a man pill and see what we can do.
See if it works or not.
Yeah, but seriously, a young man right out of high school, I think, you went to college. Mm-hmm. Or what? Well, tell us, give us an update. You got out of high school and
so I've always had an interest in nature and the outdoors. That eventually developed into an interest in hunting and fishing.
Did you
trapping.
grow up with that? A father and outdoors?
Actually, no. Later in my life, my father and I hunted before he passed, and but it just kind of naturally and organically came along. I was born in San Diego, California. My father was a naval pilot. My mom's a labor and delivery nurse, and we would go to the San Diego Animal Park a lot, which is a pretty awesome zoo.
Yeah, I've heard.
I haven't been there
outstanding zoo
in decades, but that probably triggered a lot of like interest in nature and animals. And I used to subscribe to zoo books and stuff like that when I was a nature nerd. And eventually, I just any type of nature programs on TV. I would watch them, and eventually I just got into hunting. I found, hunting and fishing in the late 80s, early 90s. And so it came from just an organic interest. And I was like, well, what could I do with a career that's involved with, maybe conservation and wildlife management type stuff? And that's where I ended up going to school at Frostburg, Maryland, because we moved from San Diego to here in Charlotte in the 80s, 90s. Parents split. I went north to Maryland with my mom and lived there 5th grade through college. Went to Frostburg State, got a bachelor's in wildlife ecology and management with minors in general biology and forestry. I did some research internships along the way, and then eventually left Maryland and came back to North Carolina and worked for the state, for the Wildlife Resources Commission in District 1 on the coast, which is like about Williamston to the Outer Banks, from the Virginia border down to about Lake Mattamuskeet was our territory. And that was a variety, I worked in the wildlife management section there, and we primarily focused on waterfowl management, but we did a variety of habitat improvements, food plot planning, prescribed burning, posting boundary, also a lot of maintenance. We would build and weld gates. We would build structures for hunting observations or hunting blinds. We did a variety of things, infrastructure improvements. And then we would also do, surveys, disease monitoring, harvest monitoring on like different species, like black bear, white-tailed deer, waterfowl. It was mostly a game management, and there were some non-game elements to it as well. But after, during that time period, and outside of my profession, I'm a big, hunter, bow hunter, and fisherman.
You still primarily hunt with bow, right?
Yep. And we'll talk about this. I just got back from an event in Colorado called TAC. It's an acronym for Total Archery Challenge. This year they held the Western TAC event was in Durango, Colorado, just north of Durango, in a ski resort called Purgatory. It's a big 3D archery event where you register. They have a variety of different archery courses, and then the whole mountain where the ski slopes are at is all covered with these variety of different archery courses. You take your bow and you ride on the ski lift to the top of the mountain, and then you pick whatever course you're registered for. You have 25 targets in that course, and you hike down the mountain shooting at 3D targets. It could be anything.
When you say 3D,
like it's like 3D archery targets of different types of animals.
They'll just pop up.
Yeah, you walk down a path, and it'd be like, all right, there'll be a cone and a flag. This is shot station number 1, and you have to shoot from the cone. And you pull out your rangefinder, you range a target, and some of the targets are at different distances, and the course is set up. There's, like I said, there's probably, I think there's
like a frisbee course. You're just
it's
playing
like
with
golfing with a bow.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the first station, say you show up and it would be a caribou target at 90 yards. Then the next station would be an alligator target at 30 yards.
How many entries does that thing? I'm just curious.
I wish I had that number for you, but tons. And they have TAC events in Pennsylvania, West Virginia,
wow,
out west. They have several each, throughout the country each year. This year, because my buddy, he lives in Elizabeth, Colorado, one of my good friends and hunting partners. We've been going out and elk hunting together out there and fishing adventures and stuff. And so he was like, hey, you should come out and shoot the TAC event, because he's been trying to get me to come out there and do this shoot for several years, but just been too busy.
Right.
And there's only so much time, obviously. But I was like, yeah. And my son, River, this Christmas, he got a bow. He finally got him a vertical I wouldn't call it a compound bow. It's like a lever action bow. It's like if you married a compound bow and a recurve bow, like a more traditional trad bow together.
Sorry, I'm lost, but I hear you.
Anyways, let's just
okay. You and your bows. Here we go.
Simply put, he got a bow for Christmas, so
great.
we went out and shot. It was me and River and Wes, my buddy Wes, I was telling you about, and his good friend Nick, that he met through the Army. and we had a great time. We just went up there. We shot a course on Saturday.
How'd you do?
I actually did pretty well. I started with I went out there with with 10 arrows. It came back with 6. So there are some arrows lost out there.
Like golf balls.
Yeah. If you're
I can
skiing,
imagine.
if
Sure.
you're skiing, if you're out in purgatory skiing in the winter and you see an arrow stuck in the tree with yellow and green veins, it's mine. But you can also. It's not like there's just arrow litter all over the mountain. You can pick up people's lost arrows.
Oh, sure. I'm sure.
And if you turn them in, you get a raffle ticket to win a truck. So
That's good.
yeah, but it's
So
a
they
real.
incentive, you to pick up all the arrows you find.
Yeah, right. They'll give you a raffle ticket. It has
So
to be
we're
a
policing as we go.
Right. It's a really fun. It was a really good time. It was a really fun event.
That would be.
Plus, it's like I said, it's like golfing with a bow, and you get to trash talk your buddies.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah. It's man time.
Yeah, it's interesting to be riding up a ski lift with a bow in your lap. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's great. What's your favorite hunting? I mean, because you've done a lot of it.
Yeah, I would say because this is where my interest spawned from is bow hunting whitetail deer. I love to waterfowl hunt. Spring turkey hunting is a blast. I love it.
What about hogs?
I've done limited hog hunting in my days. I've been on some hog hunts, and I've had some incidental opportunities while deer hunting. But I don't necessarily target hogs all that often.
Well, I was just curious because several people go down to Texas. They got a big feral hog problem down there.
Yeah, controlling feral hogs. Yeah, in my industry, there are professionals that control feral hogs. Like they do like mass roundups with trapping devices.
Oh, it's amazing what they do for those pests.
And they do a lot of damage.
They do, yeah, no doubt.
That problem has been that problem will never go away. It's just managing and mitigating it at this point. With the amount of feral hogs on the landscape now, so they do need outfits like the USDA, Fish and Wildlife Services, private wildlife control companies, and individuals out there hunting and trapping themselves recreationally to try to manage an issue with a non-native nuisance wildlife that's really destructive to the landscape, agriculture, industrial.
Oh, it can ruin crops overnight.
Oh, yeah, they can do it. I mean, farmers are up against a whole bunch of challenges.
Right.
So, that's just one more thing that they have to face. And so if you have a group of boys come up and go, hey, we'd like to ride a side-by-side around your fields at night and plink some with, some heavy equipment, then there'd be go for it. They'd be all for it.
Yeah. Compton's Automotive, Todd Compton, takes hog hunting trips. I think he's done 2.
Yeah.
Came back and you were talking about hunting. The last time I think you were on the show, you talked about hunting and the challenges of bow hunting.
I've always loved bow hunting.
Well, it would be challenging, Yeah,
you have to understand animal behavior. You have to read sign. Nowadays, there's so much information. There are apps. Some of the magic has been lost from trying to figure it out. Whereas technology has made it easier. You could make arguments why the cons, but there's lots of pros. I use technology like mapping technology to find places, but it's funny, like back in the day when we would try to figure out a spot, we would go to the courthouse, get, tax maps, figure out who owned what, find out, read topography maps, look at aerial imagery. I even had a buddy where we would get in his little Cessna and fly over, and figure out, what the lay of the land looked like from a small plane.
You ever use thermal imaging from that point of view?
Thermal imaging from aerial thermal imaging?
Yeah.
No, but you talk about interesting technology in hunting, but there are guys that use thermal drones for like deer.
That's what I was thinking because
There's a variety
the technology's incredible.
Now, state agencies have picked up on like, hey,
That's cheating.
that's cheating, so they won't allow like scouting with a thermal drone.
Sure.
But there are plenty of states that'll say, hey, I shot and wounded this deer. I can't find it. I don't want to go in there with a dog to track it. Can you use the thermal drone to recover my deer? And there are several companies out there that I'm aware of that, like I can't remember some of their names, but like I know there's plenty here in the Carolinas where they'll fly a drone over and there's your deer in the middle of that pine thicket.
Wow.
And it's still alive. Let me switch from thermal to live view. Oh yeah, it's still alive. You need to go in there and try to dispatch it, or it's a superficial wound. It's going to survive. Or
They can tell you all that sometimes.
100%.
That is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, depending on how technical the guy is, or you're observing the animal without chasing or disturbing it, you can hover right down. So it's like you think about all the technology these days. I guess
it's hard to think about it all. We talked about it before the show here about technology and, being in business and all the technology. This studio, the toolbox here, all the technology surrounding. It's tough. You got to know all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Then you got to get on your computer at the end of the day and figure all that mess out with customers and everything else. And speaking of such, how's business?
It's good. It's really good. It's been steady. I don't do any advertising or anything like that.
Why would you?
I know, and I'm glad I haven't, because I've watched a lot of that SEO and advertising.
You got to keep up with it.
Websites. I've watched it evolve over the last 11 years of owning a business, and I've seen guys who did like the pay-per-click ads and all the stuff, and I've seen people like win from it, and then I guess it depends on what you put into it.
All right, you're a great example, and I'm one too. Okay, I didn't advertise. Except in the Yellow Pages, my phone number was there, if you want to call that advertising. But here's the point. If you're a small business service provider, which we both are, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I've lived my life in the remodeling, home maintenance, repair, remodeling business. You're in pest control, big ones, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you call it critter control, call it wildlife management, call it what you want, but you're dealing with critters. Mm-hmm. Big and small.
Yeah, macroinvertebrates, wildlife.
Yeah, wildlife. But you're damn good at what you do. Mm-hmm. There's the key. Whatever you do, you're going to be the best you can be at that. And if you're that, and you're good with most important thing we do every day, everybody, and I'm doing it right now, it's called communication. Mm-hmm. We're doing it right now. With proper communication and quality professional service, knowledgeable, informative service, why do you need to market?
Yeah, that is very true. It surprises me, like every now and then I'll take an extra 5 minutes to talk to somebody about the dynamics of a problem or what the options are.
You're an educator.
Insight into our industry as to what needs to be done, how they want to spend their money, what the realities are. I don't start with scare tactics or hacky stuff. And they'll be like, wow, nobody else ever did that. Now, you could talk to some fellow competitors and be like, well, listen, you might be dealing with X amount of calls. I'm inundated, and people will waste your time, which is true. Mm-hmm. People will waste your time and try
take advantage of
carve
you
information out of you. But the people that you realize have a legit service need, have a problem that needs to be addressed, and you spend some extra time with them, well, then that was a free ad right there, because they'll go tell their mom group, or they'll go on Nextdoor, or they'll tell their social network of people like, hey, you need to call Andrew. He knows how to fix it, or he'll give you he'll be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole thing boils down to honest communication and caring about your service and being passionate about what you do. That's exuded by you and me or whatever, because we love what we do. There's what's missing in our culture today. The desire, the passion to be the best you can be at something. And the only reason that doesn't exist, and now I sound negative, don't I? I am. But is it a fact?
It's a fact. I think the lines are blurred. It's like, when you're talking about reality versus negativity, You try
Yeah.
to be positive, make it positive, but
But I can do something about it, just like you can.
Yeah.
We do. I was telling my son, my 48-year-old son, yesterday, we were talking about these same issues around men being men. We're the leaders. Andrew, where's leadership gone? You don't see it, do you? You see men sitting around, it's almost like they're waiting for direction. Right? I mean, but we need to teach young men to be grown-up men and take leadership roles. Don't fuss about it, change it. Make a difference. Be a leader. Lead by example. Action speaks louder than words, all those things. But you are a real dude. You're passionate about what you do. That's what's missing.
yeah, I think I always think about this. Like I think about like what could you do to improve society or humanity or whatever. I always think about like if you just strip away all the complications of current modern day life and you think in a village, you know, let's say primitive times, in a village, there's going to be people that are, you know, if you look in that village, there's going to be people that provide different types of services. Mm-hmm. They're in that village. There's going to be mentors. There's going to be fathers. There's going to be generations of people passing those traditions down to the next generation of how to farm or a blacksmith or use tools or how to operate this equipment. So I think, you know, today the point is that at basic primitive instincts of man is there should be a system of mentoring and leadership. That's part of like our nature.
Our education system has taken most of that away, unfortunately. They have made codependency the way of our culture. You sit back, and I see it. That's what Put Tools in Schools is all about, right there. Getting people to use critical thinking skills, because therein lies the issue. If you can't think critically, you can't produce, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you go out with a challenge of wildlife. You got to think like an animal and his environmental habits or habitat or whatever, and how he responds, right?
Right.
Calls critical thinking. Mm-hmm. And you love what you do, and you're darn good at it, right? Mm-hmm. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Now we've got to feed our kids and youth creativity and the menu of life so they can make an honest, fair decision about where they're going in life. We're not doing that.
I think, gosh, I could really talk on a lot. We can go down all kinds of avenues. It's like, you know, the hub of the bike wheel. There's so many spokes that go into it.
There sure is. You're
and you
right.
could say negative things. You could say negative things. You say people are so caught up, and they're so busy that, like, I think about myself. For instance, I'll just pick on myself here. It's like I think about being a mentor to my son and then his friends and other people. I think about this from time to time, like carrying on through the traditions of hunting and trapping. At some point, like I look at last year I took my son to the National Trappers Association's annual convention up in Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Wow.
I'm taking a look around. Most of those trappers are older guys. And they're out there giving demos and instruction and education. They had a whole like a horse barn arena, like where they're doing demos of how to trap and set traps and the devices. And it's like with that, just in my little world right there, that generation is moving out, and I'm the next generation.
Exactly.
So then, like as it was like the men in their 40s and 50s, 60s now, they're pushing in. They're going to be the next generation to teach other people. So I think if we get caught up in such a busy world, you're like, I don't have time for that. I got to work. And
I hear it all the time.
And talking about the spokes on the wheel, it's like, oh, well, I don't got time for that. I got costs. I got money. I got bills to pay. I got things to do. I got kids to raise.
You got to produce. Got to have that cash stream.
So I think there's some of it's like a product of like where we are currently.
You're
and
exactly
also
right.
You could say some of it's just being selfish. I don't want to share this information.
That exists.
You could say there's a lot of spokes on the wheel where you could point to one thing or another, but if you don't, like you said, if you don't communicate, if people don't step up and become leaders, if you don't put tools in school, put tools in schools, who's going to show them?
Yep. Even if I hurt your feelings with reality. Because when you tell the truth, it sucks. That's the
truth
reality right there. We had 7 kids. Let me take a little break here and talk about my sponsors. Got to give kudos to Kilo Exterminating, Kilo Pest Control here in town. They deal with little critters. Andrew deals with big critters. You ever work with Kilo? One of the oldest pest control companies in Charlotte.
I know of them.
Since 1939, been in Charlotte, been a staple for pest control. And they concentrate on one thing, pest control. Wood destroying insects as well as many others like carpenter ants. You know how you can tell carpenter ants? Little tiny tool belt. It's a joke. Come on, Andrew.
I thought you were going to go technical with antenna or something.
No.
The tiny tool belt.
The little tool belt. But no, seriously,
Dad
folks.
joke of the day.
Kilo.biz is a great company. They deal in pest control. Matter of fact, they're going to help me out here at the toolbox. I got a little pest problem out there. I had Les Gratton over here. He just couldn't figure it out, but we've got to figure it out. But anyway, Kilo is my go-to company. They're great. They're wonderful. You can have your own professional exterminator, a lot like Andrew. Call him up on his cell phone. Say, I got a bug problem. Ants are invading me. Whatever the situation, Kilo Exterminating. Right here in Charlotte since 1939. 3 generations family-owned. The best. Kilo Pest Control, Kilo Exterminating, Kilo.biz. And let's don't forget the folks at ABS Insulating. Comfort, yep, the old air conditioning struggle this time of the year. We have had some hot days here at the Toolbox. It is hot. But it's summertime. You need somebody to develop a plan on how to get your house tighter, more efficient, more comfortable, eliminate that humidity. Well, ABS has got solutions. Give them a call, Air Seal program. And don't forget their gutter division. But whatever it is, as far as comfort goes, open cell, closed cell insulation, bat, combinations, and whatever the case may be, they use thermal imaging, I can't talk this morning, thermal imaging to find out where the problem areas are, and they have resources to eliminate that. And like I was saying earlier, gutter division, they've got a gutter division. ABS Insulating, that's right, a gutter division. If you got gutter issues, need maintenance, need new downspouts, need bigger downspouts, control the water is your enemy. That's right. So that's absinsulating.com. That's absinsulating.com. Give them a call. And don't forget, attic encapsulation. Just throw out the question. What does that cost? Or just get them to give you the facts. Attic encapsulation is definitely a great way to create greater comfort in an existing structure. Check them out. That's absinsulating.com. Today's show, we got Song Dog Wildlife, Andrew Cole. Well, we're going to discuss all the critters, the migratory critters that are invading Charlotte. And I can only assume that due to all the construction going on. Animals moving around a lot, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, animals will move in and move out, too. I mean, I hear it a lot. I'll see stuff online like, hey, we're taking their habitat, and that's certainly true.
Yep.
That's just going to happen when you live in a city metro environment. It's going to happen. Urban sprawl is going to eat up habitat, and that's unfortunate. You'd like to keep it as green as possible. And so some animals by nature, if they're specialists, are going to lose that habitat. They disappear. And then some animals will take advantage of it. Like, believe it or not, if you look at like reproductive success, security, food availability, is say better for certain species that are adaptable, like gray squirrels, coyotes, deer. Like, for instance, with coyotes, you go out in the country, those animals are hunted, trapped. They're shot at by deer hunters, by farmers. It's a competitive landscape. You live and die by what's available in that landscape. Now, if you live in Foxcroft, and you have trash and roadkill and pets and the native foods, high deer densities, fawns, rabbits, squirrels, your food availability is good. You're sitting high and fat on the hog's back, so to speak. And so those animals actually prefer to be there because they're living like kings up in uptown Charlotte. So people say, well, we took their habitat. That very well that may be true.
You
but
created another
But
one.
you've created an urban environment where they're thriving.
Because you're feeding them.
Well, they're going in those areas and they're like, hey, it's good security cover. Nobody's harassing me.
And
Nobody's.
you can't be shot at.
Yeah. You can't hunt coyotes and discharge firearms in the city.
I have a
limits.
question for you and a story to go with it. I went out a few weeks back, about a month or so ago, and did a job for a new customer and became friendly, friends with them because of, matter of fact, they're going to be on the show next week, mother and daughter and creativity and crafts and all that. Incredible lady. Lives out, Forest Lawn Cemetery is out off Potter Road. Out in that area, out
Yeah, I
in the
believe so,
Matthews
yeah.
Indian Trail,
Yeah.
Stallings area, Weddington area, out in there. Well, anyway, they got a house at the end of a cul-de-sac and very, very, very wooded lot, almost 3-acre lot. So it's pretty good, and it's got a opening where the house sits of the sun, but most of it's wooded. And she went and bought. The daughter went out and bought 3 ducks, 2 white ones and 2 mallards, and that's all I know. The two pair of ducks. Well, I saw her ducks. She was real proud of her ducks, Oh, come in, oh, they're so cute. And they named them and all this. And I left there that day and said, ducks, where they live? Are you kidding me? I said, there's food. I said, and I mean, I'm not being negative. I'm just being realistic on wildlife. About 2 weeks later, and I didn't say a word because I didn't want to be, but I said, scratch
I'm
my...
shocked you didn't say something.
I didn't say anything. I just thought, there's fox food right there, buddy.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I thought of. Well, she called me texted me about 3 weeks later, and she says, I lost a duck last night. And then we had a conversation. That doesn't surprise me. A fox.
Oh, I have a good story about that.
But anyway, real quick, I want to hear your story for sure. Can you shoot them out there?
Yeah, so long as there's not any type of like town or local ordinance that says you can't discharge a firearm, you as a homeowner or landowner, you have the right to defend your property and family and animals and stuff. Yeah.
But see, you got to use to me, you city folk got to use common sense out in the country. And if you provide food, chickens, eggs, whatever, you're going to have snakes. What are they going to have?
What area do they live in? Sorry, I don't want to.
Matthews, Weddington area,
Okay,
and it's
gotcha.
very wooded, 3-acre lot. I mean, it's one of those older, bigger subdivisions out in the woods, so to speak.
I like to always quote it's like the old Kevin Costner movie, Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
If you build it, they will come. That's why I tell people, like, I've had somebody have they'll have like multiple rodent problems in their attic. They'll have deer mice, they'll have flying squirrels, they'll have gray squirrel issues, they'll have raccoons around their property. It's like, ma'am, you have 15 bird feeders. If you build it, they will come. And then if they're there and eyeballing your house, or even more so, if they're adapted to using houses and they got the food right there, best place to
let's
live.
go find a hole to get in.
Right. And then that's where they go in and trash insulation, chew up wiring. And
everybody thinks animals are stupid. Look at his head. He didn't. Oh, no. And squirrels. I can't think of a smarter little old critter than a squirrel. I mean, they're so adaptable and they just figure stuff out. It's amazing.
Oh.
And animals are not stupid.
No.
They're pretty smart, aren't they, Andrew?
They're purpose driven. They're instinct driven. They want to survive. They want to breed. They want to reproduce. They want to feed. They're going to figure it out. And if they have any type of experiences or history with certain things, that's where they build their knowledge, or they build like mechanisms that help them survive. That's like, say if I have a raccoon job in Matthews and I put a cage trap over the entry point. A raccoon, I've seen this on camera, mount a camera pointed at the trap. The raccoon stick his head out of the soffit, he'll see that trap. He backs out and he walks over to the other side of another return on the house, rips it out, leaves, doesn't come back. I see this several times a year. You know why that is? Because that animal at some point, either through a homeowner buying their own cage trap down at the local hardware store.
He was trapped.
He was in a trap. And by law, if you cannot relocate rabies vector species, and they're number one. The only time you can get a free pass is if you release them on site. What good does that do? Or if you deal with a wildlife rehabber where they have the ability to monitor the animal, and then release somewhere proper, which is new rule. I think a new law that came into effect, I want to say somewhere around COVID 2020, 2021. But back to the story is like that animal is trap educated. It's now trap shy. It had a bad negative experience, or it could just be pure survival instinct. Like that's not supposed to be there. And now I'm going to go rip out a brand new soffit return, and then I'm not coming back here. Which I see that.
Wow. And we think animals are dumb.
And then the homeowner or my client will be like, "Did you catch a raccoon?" And I'll be like, "Nope, but this other side of your house where this other soffit return, when I did the inspection, that soffit return was intact. It was fine. But now it's blown out. It's ripped out." Now, by the numbers, the majority of the time I'll have success catching or doing an eviction of some kind. But
sometimes they win.
But sometimes you just deal with a savvy animal. They know what's up. They've been through it before. I've seen this fish before, type thing. And then they.
Well, you got experience. That's part of what. And plus, you've had wildlife experience.
Yeah, let's say you're a pest control company or wildlife control company, you start and you didn't know what you're doing, and you saw that happen, and then it happened again. You'd be like, "How do we deal with this issue?" That's where a lot of people do get their butts kicked in this industry. Is like. They see, oh man, we get a lot of calls. This seems like a lucrative industry. And then they get into it and they find out like, wow.
It's not so easy.
It's not so easy. It's working at heights. You're working with animals that can be dangerous.
Let me reflect on something that you have done, and that's you've gone to college and you've served internships. You've been working for state wildlife conservatories, wildlife refuges, right? Mm-hmm. And you've seen all this. Did that help you a lot going into this?
Yes, I've probably forgot more than I know at this point. I think back at my education, like, gosh, there's so much I learned, but there's so much I've forgotten now. But I feel like my education certainly helped me. I feel like all my experiences added up, to learn different things and understand. It's all helped. Short answer is yes. I feel like it has all been a benefit to me. I just think it's how you apply and use it.
Well, that's the only way we learn is through application.
And now, like for instance, when I was working for the state, we had a USDA would do all of our beaver management. I know this sounds counterintuitive to building like wildlife habitat, but when we would manage for waterfowl, beaver would plug up water control structures with, mud and sticks. They're trying to fight our efforts to flood and drain fields to plant and flood for waterfowl. And so we would have to manage nuisance beaver as well as muskrat in our waterfowl impoundments. And we would have USDA do that for us because we were just too busy. So we would contract that out. But then we lost money in the budget to keep bringing them in. So they said, well, who's going to help manage with the muskrat and beaver issues at the impoundments in various locations in our area? And I said, I'll do it. So that's where I started trapping and learning how to trap and understanding, the rules and regs and devices and educating myself. And that certainly helped.
Right.
That led me down. I didn't even know at that point. I knew of USDA, but I didn't really know how broad and expansive the private part of wildlife control was. And then come to understand structural issues with wildlife, not just open space. Issues, but structural issues with birds and bats and, rodents of different kind. And I didn't, I kind of opened my eyes to it. And that was the kind of the door that led me into this industry. So I would say, that all those things benefited me. It put me on a path. I didn't go to school and say, hey, I want to own and operate a wildlife control business. I didn't even take a business course. It probably could have helped.
Oh, it always helps. Matter of fact, if there's anything I advise kids on is, if you want to go to school after the fact, high school, go take a business course. I didn't say get a degree. Go take a course in business.
Yeah, you should.
You don't have to be a business major. You don't have to have a certificate, but you do have to. It would help. My biggest weakness is business and money management. I own it. And money has not ever meant that much to me. Now, most people, they think that's all there is money. Well, I've had and call it stupid, I'll be glad to admit it. You know, you can always make more money till you can't.
Yeah.
Till you can't. Fortunately, I've been blessed with health, and I can still make money, but I didn't prepare. And that's the whole key to this. As a business owner, you need to know how to manage your money and make good money doing what you're passionate about doing.
Sure.
Because the money's there.
Yeah, you could turn this into a money management and life management and business management talk for a long time.
Sure could. Yeah.
I could pontificate about that for hours. I mean, if let's say I wanted to grow my business into like a 8-truck business,
look at the headaches.
I'm at that point I'm married to my business, not my wife and family.
Right. How many? You got any help now?
I did have a guy, Caden, and he quit last March to join the Army.
Gotcha. I remember that.
So he went down to Fort Benning, and now he's at Bragg.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're solo.
I've been solo for a year. I know I can't. I'm no spring chicken. I mean,
how old are you now?
I'm 44, but I'm no spring chicken to this industry.
No.
So it's like, you know, you
scale. What I love about you, you got a little wisdom about you at 44.
You can scale it up or scale it down. It's like if I age out of, say, doing because I do a lot of working at heights, a lot of lift and ladder work, and Cougar Paul boots, getting up on roofs, lots of heavy lifting, ladders,
crawl spaces, attics, everywhere.
It's like if I age out of that, if I decide to not scale my business and try to make it pass it along or sell it. And you could go down a rabbit hole of like building a business and selling it, and then building another business and selling it.
Because, as you said, all the real wildlife experts are aging out.
Yeah, and then there's people that try to get into it, and they don't really have, I guess, interest or passion for it. It's strictly business, which that's okay. You know, people can say, "Well, you're
money."
That's right.
And
people
here's
can say
what
you're
I tell
wasting your
people.
time, Andrew. Just
if you
trying
chase
to run
the money, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Yeah. Well, you'll probably end up messing up somewhere.
Exactly. If the money's your mission, look, we've all got to make money.
Sure.
We've all got to make money. We've all got to have cash, pay the bills, and move forward. And I get that. I really do. But it's a lot more. It's better about everything if you're passionate about what you're doing and you love what you do, right? Then it's not about the money, it's about the mission. Now, granted, we got to have money. Therein lies the course in business, right?
Yeah. And you get tangled up in the thought. You know, let's say I'm sitting on social media and I'll get reels about like how to make your business more profitable, how to properly run a business, how to make a business more sellable, or how you can grow it into an empire or whatever. And I wonder if I'm doing it right or if I'm doing it wrong. But then I just keep going along and just operating like this.
Are you a happy boy?
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I return back to is like, is it working? Am I happy?
Here's what I'm going to tell you. And not that anybody cares, but I'm going to tell you anyway. You're outstanding. One, you say you mean a lot to your son. Look at the father Josie sees coming that door every day. Mm-hmm. Look at the impression you made her. No, you didn't once say I took her to a bow hunting, but she sees you and her brother. Mm-hmm. That's incredible because you know how many kids don't have the father that you are?
A lot.
A lot. Matter of fact, it's a tremendous problem that these single moms are raising these boys out there without people like you or me. Now, I talk about that a lot, and it's a reality, and it's a problem because these kids. I had 7 young men in the toolbox yesterday, 9th graders, all of them going into the 9th grade. And more than half of those boys did not have fathers, if not more than that. That's the problem. So, you're an exception. Not only do you provide service for humanity, but look what you're doing for those kids. And you're a hell of a husband to your wife. Mm-hmm. That is exceptional in today's world. Incredibly exceptional. And I hate saying that, but it's a reality that we're all dealing with. You know, so great job.
Thank you.
Good job. Good father. good image of what you are, and I hope you can give that back at 44 years old. You are tomorrow's leaders.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Well,
It's like I told my son, man up, shut up, and do something about it. And that's what you're doing. You're doing it.
yeah.
Just man up, shut up, and be a man.
Well, if you can come to one of my son's hockey games, you might see another side of me.
Well, yeah. You get a little carried away.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah.
passion.
yeah.
That is part of who you are.
Sure.
People say all the time, Ray, you're going to blow a vein, man. You're going to have a heart attack. No, I'm not. It's just who I am.
I've said that before. Yeah, I'm
I
one
know.
of them.
I know, and I understand it. Oh, I've been in conversations on the radio, and I didn't come in here to be yelled at. I'm sorry, I just get carried away.
Yeah.
It's that passion, that intensity, and a lot of people can't deal with it.
Yeah.
It's just too much, and we're not used to passionate people. That's the point. How do we create that in our youth? How do we create it? But in the meantime, let's talk about Queen City Home Store, one of our premier sponsors on this show, and I'm so grateful and in total gratitude for Queen City Home Store, their support and sponsoring for many, many years now, as I am with all the sponsors of this show, and I'm so grateful. But why? Because they're a great store. I'm glad we've got another family-owned store, 3 generations strong since 1952 in this city. Queen City Home Store. If you're looking for furniture, home furnishings, home decorating, media, meaning TVs and everything associated with TVs, sound bars, whatever the case may be, appliances. Probably one of the best, if not the best, retailer in the city and contractor supplier in the city around appliances. They've been doing appliances for many, many, many years, and they know the business of appliances. No matter what you might look for, be it refrigeration, cooktop, full service ranges, wall ovens, refrigerator, appliances, they got you. That's Queen City Home Store online, queencityonline.com. Check out their specials. They had some great July 4th specials. They're probably gone, but check them out. That's queencityonline.com. You give them a call at corporate 704-391-6000. That's 704-391-6000. And let's go to floor coverings. Yep, you're going to decorate it, you got to have a floor covering, right? Whether it's hardwood, sanded hardwood, engineered hardwood, new, LVP, LVT. All these initials, luxury vinyl plank, luxury vinyl tile, ceramic tile, whatever the case may be, Floor Coverings International brings the showroom to you. They've got mobile showrooms with great professional staff to man these little vans, and they'll give them a call. Go online, yourflooringteam.com. Set up an appointment right there on their website, yourflooringteam.com, to take their showroom, mobile showrooms to you with everything you may need, and then some things you may not even think of, such as laminate. Laminate's revived. The laminate market is coming on strong. Check them out. New laminate flooring. That's Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. And once again, don't let the name fool you. Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. They'll come to Iredell County, Rowan County, Upper Mecklenburg, Huntersville, Gaston County, Indian Land. Doesn't matter where you're at, they'll come to you. That's Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. Yourflooringteam.com. And today we're talking to Andrew Cole with Song Dog Wildlife and things you need to know. Next hour, we're going to be talking about Put Tools in Schools. Had our first big event yesterday with another nonprofit called What's Next Ministry. Had 7 young men over here. Actually, we had 9 men over here from What's Next Ministry. We're going to talk about that. But right now, let's talk to Andrew about critters. Mm-hmm. And I was telling him before the break about an exceptional father and man. And that's what we got to create. And you're doing that for your son.
I try. I do my best. And also some of the friends of his in the neighborhood too, like getting them into hunting. You know, when I worked for the Wildlife Commission, they had it takes 100 to make 100 mentor program. And I have a hat and everything. And so when there are kids that show interest in hunting or fishing, I'll certainly take them hunting or fishing. And
well, that's something that, as we grow, Put Tools in Schools, it's another side of life that these kids do not get exposed to because they don't have fathers.
Like I said in the beginning, a village. If you scale it all back to where our natural settings in a primitive
We're
setting.
animals.
Yeah, we
are animals.
We have to lead
People
and
don't
show.
like when I say that.
We have to lead, show, teach, mentor. And if you don't show them anything, then it's a stalemate. They don't know what to do.
They don't know what they don't know.
They don't have any direction. They didn't know. Oh, hey, actually, I'm a pretty good equipment operator. I'm pretty good at this. I had no idea.
Nobody put
this
it in
kid?
your hand before today.
Who knew this kid had this skill set?
Yep. It is absolutely amazing what these kids don't know, and if they knew. Bottom line, all our children, all of us were born geniuses. We all are. That's the way God made us. We're all incredible human beings with this vast amount of creativity, this artistic, just enormous critical thinking ability. And then what happened? What happened, Andrew? They went to school and they lost it. School dumbed them down, took it away from them. I see it every day.
The school stuck to,
And then I get in trouble for saying stuff like that.
curriculums and the programs they have to abide by, and there's I can't really speak on it. It's not my arena, but it's.
Well, I'm dead in the middle of it. And I don't mind it because.
And I'm sure there's plenty of teachers that would agree. They'd be like, yeah, well, this is what's set up for us. This is what we have to teach. This is what we have to do. This is what may or may not have worked for so long. This is what we have to continue to do.
The only time we learn is when we apply knowledge to something. You've learned everything you've learned by application. Going out in the woods, going out into houses, checking out actual reality, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that how you learn most of your stuff? I mean, you can read it all day, but until you go out and see what you read to be a fact, you don't really know it's a fact, do you?
Yeah, you can go out. You can go out and learn everything on your own and go through the trial and error of learning on your own. But you have to have you have to plug in somewhere, and somebody's got to show you.
Yep. And
leadership, and gosh, it's so important. Even if it's just a DVD, I think about some of the trapping mentors to me, and learning from them. Instead of being in some standardized system, I'm actually out there learning hands-on. I remember, I don't know how true this is. I haven't been around a high school yet, currently, but I remember we had wood shop. So, I had a basic understanding of tools then. Then I went and worked with my uncle, and he's a general contractor, and learned basics of reading a tape measure.
Where were you living then?
In Maryland.
Yeah, up north. We don't do that in the South.
In Maryland, they had wood shop 1 and 2.
Up north, they've got wood shop, millwright shops, the whole.
I can't believe they don't have that down here.
No.
Or across the entire nation.
Matter of fact, the problem is, I'll talk to middle school. We're going to hit this big time next hour, I'll tell you, because we're moving. We're making progress. But these kids don't know what tools are. Middle school kids, I've been to 5 this past year, which we're going to target middle schools more this year if we possibly can get industry to step up and participate. These kids, you look at them and say, do you know what the trades are? What? Huh? The trades. Do you know what the trades are? No, have no idea. Well, if they don't know what the trades are, they don't know what apprenticeships are. They don't. So how are they to know what tools are for? And what you can do anything with the proper tools. And your van, your truck out here, it ain't a van, it's a pickup, right? Mm-hmm. It's loaded with tools, loaded with equipment. Matter of fact, that's your toolbox, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You got to have it. But unfortunately, our kids, we're not exposing them to the tools of life. These are life skills. What when you call them life skills? Mm-hmm. I mean, you can eat. Best nutritious meat on the planet, deer.
High in iron, high in protein. Very good, yeah.
Good.
You got to cook it right. You got to prep. You got to.
Well, you got to know how to cook it. Well, you got to know how to cook anything.
Yeah,
and there's another weakness. Kids don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
They don't even know how to open the boxes and separate the meat patties that are frozen stuck together. Now, I know this through actual hands-on demonstrations. So, And here we're talking about dressing out a deer.
Oh yeah, I always enjoy taking somebody for the first time and they've never seen somebody field dress a deer, and you show them how it's done, and their eyes are as wide as dinner plates. Like, whoa!
How many
what?
kids? How many kids? High school kids have done that, Andrew? Probably 1 out of what, 20, maybe.
In Mecklenburg County, probably a low percentage. In Union County or Anson County,
in the more
rural America, you're going to have more of it. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, go out to rural areas like Wadesboro and Marshville. A lot of them kids out there, they know what's up.
Yeah.
They grew up in the outdoors. A lot of their fathers and families are hunters and fishermen and such.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean that applies to anything, though. To go back to wood shop, you gotta unless you're shown, or then you don't know.
Right.
I
got it.
And then if you're stuck in a place, you're like, well, you don't have those opportunities. That's where mentoring and programs. And I also say this to my son too. I say, after all I've shown you, you should have no excuses to find something in this world to be passionate about.
What does he like?
Oh, he loves to hunt and fish. He's an athlete.
He loves to be like his daddy.
He's been around it all, but yeah, he's a carbon.
He plays hockey.
He's a carbon copy of me. Yeah, when I lived in Maryland, that's when I found. When I lived in Mint Hill the first time in the '80s, I played baseball and soccer and basketball. But then when I went north, I found hockey, and I was like, "This is my sport."
Yeah, hockey's real popular in Charlotte. I didn't realize it was.
It's going to be even more popular considering that the Hurricanes just won the Stanley Cup.
Oh, they did?
Mm-hmm.
Shows you what I know, because I had no clue.
Best professional franchise in North Carolina, hands
What
down.
are we, like the third fastest growing city in the U.S.? Something like that,
Charlotte,
top 5?
Charlotte is one of 3 areas of the
Charlotte and Raleigh both are really
Raleigh, the Triad, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, High Point area, the Durham, Chapel Hill,
Research
Raleigh
Triangle.
area, and Charlotte, North Carolina, and the area are the fastest growing communities in the country right now.
Yeah, so I get lots of northeastern area codes, lots of midwestern area codes, and a lot of those people they know about hockey. So the sport's growing big time.
Yep.
In the Carolinas, and
Just like soccer.
Oh yeah,
I
with
went to
this
see the World Cup
stuff. Yeah,
Monday a week ago.
Yeah.
A friend of mine called me and she said, "Meet me at the bar and let's watch the soccer game." I said, "Sure," because I know soccer's really strong now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You get
Sports
different
are strong.
cultures and people move into areas, and a sport will grow. Especially if it's a good sport, It's
I didn't know there was one, but anyway, that's just right there.
Don't get him started.
Don't get me going on sports now. 'Cause see, sports is taking away kids' lives. This parent sports issue is out of control.
To a certain degree, Ray, but it also helps people stay out of trouble.
To a certain
and
degree.
escape.
To a certain degree, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to be learned about teamwork. Competitive.
It keeps
sport.
kids out of trouble too, though.
It can, but it also creates.
But I
other
agree.
issues.
There are other issues. Correct.
Big time.
Yeah, I agree. That
It's out of control for the most part. That ain't from me. I'm just telling you what I know to be a fact from doctors.
Soccer moms cussing out the refs.
Psychologists. What's
Listen.
that?
Soccer moms cussing out the refs.
Oh, I've had my
What
moments
about
in
soccer
hockey.
dad?
Linda takes the 4 kids in the minivan, and then
Well,
she's
let me take you to a hockey rink, okay, in October.
I'm
It's the
down.
same
That sounds
thing.
fun.
It's just a different setting.
I think it's again we're going to talk about the primitive nature of people. People are competitive. People
I couldn't agree more.
Like honestly, a lot of sports are a derivative of war games.
No kidding.
So
Aggression.
when you mix, especially contact sports, when you mix in the competitive nature of man, and then you mix in all the stresses that come with modern day. So let's say your kid's not getting enough play time, you get pissed off. Sorry, can I say that?
You just did. It's okay.
And so if your kid's not getting enough play time and you're putting in all this time and money, there's aggravation there. If your kid is really good and then he's just not getting opportunities, there's frustration there. If you see a kid that takes liberties on your kid, there's frustration there. So understanding where the derivative of sports comes from, the competitive nature of people, you're going to see some ugly things, but I'd rather have my kid become an athlete and build strength. Like when we took my son to the doctor's like, he listened to his heart. He's like, he's an athlete, isn't he?
All right. Save that thought. We got 20 seconds for this hour. But you're right to everything you just said. Sports is very competitive. It's part of the human nature. It's part of what we are. But it is out of control. We're going to talk about it. We can argue if you like, but there's nothing to argue about. It is out of control. We're going to be back next hour. More Andrew Cole, more Put Tools in Schools. Tune in, turn on, and